How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I just had an awesome conversation with Connor Kenny, who owns his own YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Underneath the video will be the top link. He needs 150 subscribers to hit 200,000, so let's see if we can get him there. He gives a lot of good content, and he was asking about a recent video where I talk about some big events that really point to why Bitcoin's so important. And I expanded on it more than I did in my original video. So I wanted to play it here for you. If you like this, let me know by hitting the subscribe button underneath the video to my channel as well. There's also going to be a link underneath the video to Margex, where you can trade cryptocurrency using leverage. It's a tool that you can use during a bull market to make some outsized returns. Just make sure you know what you're doing. I have a handful of videos talking about leverage trading on the channel. Make sure that it's right for you and make sure you read the terms and conditions. They are doing an airdrop right now where you can get some free money, and it's just dependent on how much you trade. So if you're already trading, if you trade more or with larger amounts, you'll make more money from the airdrop. So let's get into the content.
Sam, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, my man.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me back.
No worries. The market is looking healthy. I'm in a good mood because the market's healthy. I wanted to bring you on. I saw a video of yours. Do you see what's happening? CrowdStrike failure. Now, I heard a bit about this video, not about the video, about what was going on. But I'm interested. I want to know what's happening because I want to know how CrowdStrike's failure could be pumping Bitcoin, or your thoughts on what's going on right now. Because my dad actually told me about what, the downside of Microsoft or Windows or something that was happening, but I don't even know. So can you fill me in?
Yeah. So basically what happened was CrowdStrike is a security platform, as I understand it. This is what happened. They're a security platform. They're supposed to help prevent you from getting hacked so that your business can operate as usual. They work with 95% of S&P 500 companies. They work with like 911 police departments. They work with airlines. They work with like everything, banks. And apparently someone pushed an update that caused 1 billion computers to be bricked. Basically, you can't type on them. You can't do anything. Apparently, it needed a hard reboot. And then I even saw reports that like you had to manually take out something in the computer. So it's like stuff that people can't do, right? Like no one is. A lot of people aren't even good with computers. So trying to do all this and trying to get information on that, like how are you going to push that out to everyone that they have to do this to their computer if they don't have their computer to get communication? So it was this massive problem. I mean, I don't even know if it's all resolved now, but like throughout the entire day yesterday, this was an issue. People were handwriting like airplane tickets, just craziness. And my main point in that video was that this could be one of the reasons why Bitcoin's moving up. I mean, obviously there are a handful of reasons, from Trump talk about Bitcoin as a strategic reserve to that ETFs buying almost 2.5 billion in 2 weeks in Bitcoin. But this reminds me of the bank collapse, where there's some major catalyst that doesn't necessarily have to do with Bitcoin or even financials in general, but it shows the importance of having something like Bitcoin, because this was a centralized issue. This is one team, one person just missing something and then causing a global issue that takes hours or days to fix, maybe weeks. I mean, like trying to get out to everyone that has a computer in your company and trying to manually fix something. Like there are hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, if not tens of billions of dollars that are lost in all these different companies. And again, it's because of one centralized risk. It's because of one centralized issue compared to Bitcoin, where let's say, heaven forbid, there's a bomb dropped on Texas where a lot of Bitcoin mining goes on. That doesn't affect Bitcoin really that much. Like the chain will still work. You can still send Bitcoin. You can still mine Bitcoin in another area. Sure, the hash rate's going to go down, but the network's still going to be very secure because it's decentralized across the entire world. I don't even know what the max amount of. I'm kind of curious about that. I wonder what country or what like area has the most percentage of the Bitcoin mining hash rate, but it's all across the world in all different places. So there's no way of getting the network to really go down. So I think it brings more attention to decentralized options, so we don't have issues like this happen in the future. And the cool thing about Bitcoin, some people get annoyed that it doesn't really change much. Like the people that can actually change the code of Bitcoin or change with proposals, the coders on Bitcoin, like they don't move very quickly. There isn't a bunch of functionality on Bitcoin. I mean, now you kind of have some inscriptions and that kind of stuff, but Bitcoin is what Bitcoin is, and that's actually a good thing a lot of the time, that they move very slowly if they change anything at all. And to be clear, there's some stuff that just can't be changed, like the 21 million Bitcoin. Generally, Bitcoin's the same that it was 5 years ago, but there's a little bit more functionality with it. So again, I just think that when you see some major issue like this, that's literally one of the reasons why people like Bitcoin. It just brings more attention to Bitcoin. And we pumped $3,000 right after this happened. Actually, $4,500. We went from 63,000 to 67,500 throughout the day. And like I said, a lot of that is due to the fact that there's $1/3 billion worth of Bitcoin bought by the Bitcoin ETFs. But yeah, it just is so obvious to me that this is an issue that continues to happen. And I brought up the banks earlier, but the banks was the banking collapse in the US was a similar thing, where you're not really safe in the places you think you're safe. Like, you think you have, safety in a bank. Well, they can go bankrupt, and maybe the Fed doesn't necessarily back up the bank. You think your computers are safe because you have the leading platform out there to stop you from getting hacked, and then they're the ones that brick your computer and make it unusable. So it's just interesting to watch all this stuff unfold.
With that said, make sure you hold. Sorry, I dropped it. Make sure you hold your seed phrases. Don't worry, guys. Before anyone gets happy, there's nothing on this one. But make sure you hold your seed phrases in a paper wallet. All right, guys? Because if your computer, let's say your computer gets bricked, then someone nicks your phone, you're going to have no access to your crypto and it's done. All right. So make sure you have it on here in a ledger, cold storage. All right. Get your stuff entirely off the internet. All right. With that said, I was also thinking while you were talking, the Silicon Valley banks was another interesting thing that when it happened, we were all focused on it, but no one really expected it to instantly pump Bitcoin, but it did. And it's like all of these weird events that happen. And then when you think about it, the obvious option is a decentralized platform or a decentralized currency that no one can access, no one can take down, no one person can make a mistake. And yeah, it just shows how strong the Bitcoin network really is. And
can I mention one thing on that too? That's exactly what Mark Cuban and Larry Fink have said recently in regard to Bitcoin. Like, Larry Fink, I think, went on in the last week and said that Bitcoin's a play on global uncertainty and like chaos and the collapse of different currencies and stuff. And that's literally what we're seeing now, is like something blows up. And I think Mark Cuban said something similar in a tweet thread. But like, yeah, you see something blow up, you see global uncertainty with what's going to happen moving forward, and Bitcoin pumps.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we just have, there's just endless uses for something that is of decentralized nature, right? And it's funny because, when we see the comments and the headlines and things, a lot of the reasons against cryptocurrency or against Bitcoin are actually very strong pumponomics for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are like, dude, we're on the verge of a recession. Dude, we're on the verge of a World War III. We're on the verge of this. But actually, think about it. The banks are about to collapse, whatever. Like, you think about what you're saying and what Bitcoin is. And if Bitcoin actually continues to be what it is, then it's exactly what you want in those moments, right? You don't really want to be holding property in a country that's going to go to war or whatever it is, right? Stocks in a brokerage that's, could collapse at any moment. You want to be holding Bitcoin on a piece of paper that no one can access. Yeah. Or better yet, my friend actually, he memorized his seed phrase using a song. There's some trick that you can do to memorize things. So he memorized his seed phrase. That's the best possible thing you could do.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. I think that makes sense if you're going through some, like, if heaven forbid there was like some big war, and like to get out you literally had to go through security and they weren't allowing seed phrases, like they were patting you down, checking everything. But that scares me a lot to memorize it for like a long time, because if you get in a car accident or you lose memory, you get dementia slightly and you forget one word, like you're done.
Totally.
Or worse, I mean, a lot of people have some contingency plan for when they die so they can pass on their Bitcoin. And there have been a lot of people that have lost Bitcoin, like even billionaires that have lost Bitcoin. Their families couldn't figure out where it was.
Yeah,
And that, yeah, I would never do that myself just because of those issues.
Yeah, totally. Well, Sam, I appreciate it. I do want to ask you one question before you go. Are you buying, holding, or selling right now in this pump? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever you want.
It's funny you ask that. So if people have been watching my channel, I talked about how I had bought very heavy in the bear market. I bought even during and got paid a lot in cryptos because I said, hey, no, don't pay me in USD, just send me Bitcoin. I did that a lot up until the halving. Like literally the day of the halving is when I said, okay, this is when I'm going to stop accepting, which honestly was okay. It was right in the same range that we're in now. I think we're around 65,000 or so, 60,000. Now, I've been holding since then. It's little positions here and there, and other tokens I think might do well, but it's very small for my portfolio. I was considering today, though, selling some Ethereum. And recently I did swap some Ethereum for Solana. I think that was a couple weeks ago. But I am considering selling some Ethereum with this ETF coming up. I mean, it's supposed to start trading. The problem is I just haven't seen Ethereum actually do well on the daily. Like it's not like it's outperformed one day, really. I think maybe there's one day where it did slightly better than Bitcoin. But I'd like to trim some Ethereum. It's not a huge part of my portfolio, but it's my second largest holding by a decent amount, but it's still so much smaller than Bitcoin. But I'd take some of that and probably put it into Solana, but then the majority just into Bitcoin. And I realize that Ethereum can probably do better than Bitcoin this next run, but I just don't feel as comfortable holding it long term. I don't really see as much utility. I feel like it's lost utility over the last couple of years from the last bull run. Like so many people use Solana. I think Base is pretty useful now. Base is actually awesome to use if you haven't used it. It's very cheap. A lot of tokens are building on it, but yeah, I just don't know with the Ethereum ETF what's going to happen. I mean, no, not GBTC, but the Ethereum Grayscale Trust has a 2.5% fee. A lot of people have been trapped in it for a while. Would not be surprised to see people dump that for a while, and then it kind of doing the same thing as Bitcoin, where maybe it goes down to 2,800 or 3,000, then rallies throughout the rest of the bull run. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I've been considering it for the last day or two, but yeah, I'm maybe trimming that.
All right, interesting. Well, thanks for stopping by, Sam. Always appreciate it. And if anyone wants to check out Sam's channel, there will be a link down there in the description. See you in a bit, man.
Appreciate you. Yep. See you soon. Bye.